There we go. Good. One more. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we'll begin with the Heart Sutra. The Sutra of the Heart of Transcendent Knowledge. This have I heard, as the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagriha at Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a great gathering of the Sangha of monks and a great gathering of the Sangha of Bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the Samadhi that expresses the Dharma called profound illumination, and at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, while practicing the profound Prajnaparamita, saw in this way. He saw the five skandhas to be empty of nature. Then, through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, how should a son or daughter of noble family train who wishes to practice the profound Prajnaparamita? Addressed in this way, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, said to Venerable Shariputra, O Shariputra, a son or daughter of noble family who wishes to practice the profound Prajnaparamita should see in this way. Seeing the five skandhas to be empty of nature. Form is emptiness, emptiness also is form. Emptiness is no other than form, form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness are emptiness. Thus, Shariputra, all dharmas are emptiness. There are no characteristics. There is no birth and no cessation. There is no impurity and no purity. There is no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no perception, no formation, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no dharmas, no eye, dhatu, up to no mind, dhatu, no dhatu of dharmas, mind consciousness, dhatu, no ignorance, no end of ignorance, up to no old age and death. No end of old age and death, no suffering, no origin of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since the Bodhisattvas have no attainment, they abide by means of Prajnaparamita. Since there is no obscuration of mind, there is no fear. They transcend falsity and attain complete nirvana. All the Buddhas of the three times, by means of Prajnaparamita, fully awaken to unsurpassable, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the great mantra of Prajnaparamita, the mantra of great insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering should be known as truth, since there is no deception. Prajnaparamita mantra is said in this way. Te ata om gate gate paragate parasangate bodhisoha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound Prajnaparamita. Entrance. Samadhi and praise noble Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family, thus it is, O son of noble family, thus it is.
Once you practice the profound
Prajnaparamita, just as you have taught, and all the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Venerable Shariputra and noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, that whole assembly in the world with its gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas rejoiced and praised the words of the Blessed One. Chandara Sambarayambe Te Ata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Buddhiso Papa Conchu Sonji Gai Tembe Doji She Oba Doji Meba Doji Shewa Doji Ragi Baji Medum Bejo Doji She Tengo Yeso The fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure realm. Holy Lamas, high, wrap the sky of your Dharma bodies in massive clouds of knowledge and love, and let them pour upon the earth of your disciples as we are ready, a shower of rain, the teachings deep and wide. I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. Edam Guru Radha Mandala Gamiradayam. Jadan Jari Janam Jajo Badu Dani Jasuji Nagi Chinye Jipe Sonam Jidrola Menje Zonye Rubaju Jadan Jari Janam Jajo Badu Dani Jasuji Nagi Chinye Jipe Sonam Jidrola Menje Zonye Rubaju Yadan Jari Janam La Janjo Badu Dani Jasuji Nagi Chinye Jipe Sonam Jidrola Menje Zonye Rubaju.
What are the reaching board? That in the man. Then the legislation about the Chibi Chumuta, Tomo large revolution with Sudan, did the Tomo large revolution with Chibi large. 송을 총도 도모 라지 잼발 로장 수 틀어 삼바장 삼바지 비치 틀어 로두세와 삼바장 원들 제된 심마도 로지바든 제된 심마도 터템바 제된 심마도 터템바들 저루들 레레니 나는 렌데 말베 렌데라 나비 렌데 가비 렌데 니가 난다 나비 렌데 고차 당아도 가비 렌데 말베 야.
So once again, we're looking at Lama Tsongkhapa's great treatise on the stage of the path to enlightenment. And if we're looking at it from the outline, from the perspective of the outline, we find that we're under the major heading of the stages of how students train their minds after having relied upon a teacher. So in that section, we find categories that deal with training the mind in the stage of the path shared in common with beings of small capacity, training the mind in the stage of the path shared in common with beings of medium capacity, and training the mind in the stage of the path for beings of great capacity. So under the major heading, training the mind in the stage of the path shared in common with beings of small capacity, there are three headings. First, the actual training of thought of a person of small capacity. Second, the measure of the attitude of a person of a small capacity, and then third, dispelling any misconceptions related to the person of small capacity. So the first category in that section, we find the actual training of thought of a person of small capacity, and there we find two major headings. First, developing the state of mind that strives diligently for the sake of future lives, and then the second category of relying on a means or a method for achieving happiness in one's next life. So we're currently in the section of relying on a method or a means of achieving happiness in one's next life, and there we find two major headings. First, we have refuge in the three jewels, and then second, we have karma and its results. So under the section called karma and its results, or action and its results, we find it broken down into various categories, such as the black actions and their results, white actions and their results. So we've gone through the section on black actions and their results. So now we're currently dealing with white actions and their results.
What Gabi Lenny to what to inch and Gudua, Beijing Jatna Jesu Jajere, 184, Inch Jena Gabando Gabi Lenny.
We're on page 238 in the English.
What the Gatunga on Root Chinia, Jachinamara.
So we're going to go through this again now.
Gabi Lenny and Takanda Gawaju Marba Gawajule. Maguju Sutis and Gabi Lendes and Gabi Lechus and what the Red Marba Gabi and Gabi Tagawaju the Chenichun, Gawajutla and Sujubum Sijila Subi Gawajutla, Chimbi Chongosun, Chimbi and Namiji Rebutel. Kankomanijila, Dringe, Namiji Rebutela, Dula, Chungu, Namiji Rebutela, Melchiores, Marbe, Melchiores, what the lady Marbe Roa. Yeah.
So now in this section of white actions, what are white actions? White actions, in this case, are referring to the 10 virtues. So these 10 virtues are the ethics which abandon the 10 non-virtues. So this and white actions, these are all referring to the same thing. So white actions, any among the virtuous actions and so forth, these are all referring to those actions which are positive, which have abandoned the non-virtuous actions. So this is why we say they are the ethics which abandon the 10 non-virtues. So each of these virtuous actions carry with them the potential for different degrees of completion. So we say that if we look at the example of the ethics which abandons killing, if we do so with a great degree, or if we abandon killing with a great degree, then this provides us rebirth into the two upper realms of the God's realms. If we abandon killing in a medium way, with a medium degree of abandonment, then this allows for rebirth into the desire realm gods, into the realm of the desire realm gods. And then if we do so with a small degree of abandonment, then this gives us a rebirth into the human realm. So we see how these various virtuous actions, here we're speaking of the 10 virtues, have the different degrees. And in this case, we're using that example of the ethics which abandons killing. Dixon?
Ojo, gabi ledan trebushi, tombo gabi led macheba longo tempa jeba jeba ni longo tempa gabi gawaju le mogijumu chudin chude tombo dudu jin jesun do tempas tenma je samba joa tatu gune jeba jebas o te saje ni gun rogduwa o ni je o tatte de bare ledan rebo tombo lero le tombo ne suje bata maje ba lemba ta loba yin wala nyemi sam loba yin wa nyemi ji samba jenje ge sen da dembe tada yan da ba joa sheba ta damba tatu ba shebi leje le sos o tege ne gashu garda leje gune suje ba bombe kabile suje ba bombe chutin ane majiba leba bombe chutin loye bombe chutin what the son tende do sejin do nga ge na ba je jun chama chesu nga che je bombe ge leje ane e je na sen ne sen loda bombe ne e je le what ba to dun je ba din bare sejin do nga ge je dan e je son la ya jate cheba ne nga ge le na e je le je shaos o te ato de longo do tempo din sare gawaju dudu so sare
the kanga logo
o lu shen cha sang lu nan do tempo cha sang ji lu
then jepa gar guts kabar guts
jeba jeba de she sa yu ngwe so den ma ren do wa ane e je le je shaos o te ato de longo do tempo je she sa yu ngwe je
oh they je
so te ol ma je she de
okay
jeba she ngo da
okay. So we find in the outline, when we're dealing with virtuous actions, we find that there is first the summary of the virtue, and then a more expanded explanation that deals with the four aspects and so forth. So here it begins, it says, the levels of yogic deeds says that virtuous actions include the physical actions of those who reflect on the faults of killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct, and have a virtuous attitude. They have also carried out the performance of correctly restraining themselves from those non-virtuous actions and brought this restraint to culmination. It states that the same can be said for the 4 vocal actions and the 3 mental actions, the difference being substitute vocal actions and mental actions for physical actions. So here, when we're looking at virtue is the abandonment of non-virtues. And we speak of the 10 virtues, the ethics, the 10 non-virtues. The 10 virtues would be those ethical behaviors which abandon those 10 non-virtues. So in the case of the first non-virtue of killing, we find that the abandonment of that killing, if one has this virtuous attitude, categorically would fall under the ethics which abandons killing. So when we look at the potential non-virtues we can engage in, there are the 3 non-virtues of the body, which are killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. And then the 4 non-virtues of the speech, which are lying, harsh words, divisive speech, and gossip, and the 3 non-virtues of the mind, which are covetousness, harmful intent, and wrong view. So the abandonment of any among these 10 is called the ethics, which abandons that particular non-virtue that is being abandoned. So this is what we refer to when we say a virtuous action, or any among the 10 virtuous actions. And this is how it can be explained in an abbreviated fashion.
This one.
Dixon? And one thing I forgot is, so the effect of being born into the upper God's realms, or the desire God realm, or the human realm, is the fruitional result, is the fruitional karma.
Suju Pombi, Lelang la Chunas, what in ma, and then Suju Pombi, Lejugun, Suju Pombi, Chutin de la J, Samba, Joa Tatu J,
Lesser.
What didn't go that Tamatan Hegdo She, Sai Mojo Sombi, Suju Pombi, Leji J, Samba, Joa Tatu, Cheriba Jate, Suju Pombi, Lela Chunas, Suju Bombi Lela Tsuna, Suju Bombi Gile, Jet Shosana, Jen Singing Genos, Raleigh Jambi Singing the Javures, Raleigh Jambi Singing the Sebala, Seba Bombala, Suju Bombi Lesa Virgilota, Jen Singing Geno, Samba ne, and Samba ne, Nyami Tone, Pon de Baus. Jen Singing Subaina, and Suju Chini Johnson to the Niwa that Rula Suba, the Jeju about Niemi Tone, and then Soju Pon Deba, Poyagan Deba, what the Colony Samba.
Ale, the Nieme, okay.
Niemi Tone, Pon Deba. Oh, Tanga Pon Gudu, Mabon Niemi, is what the Invere. Joanne. Sebayan taba dami duje dos, ta suju bombi joa de ta jen senjen suju santa ta lekha cha to ngalo ne kaba de jiro ta ne joa ne sebayan taba dami duje dos suju gu ne san ta suju age lekha cha to ka ge duje tres duje to Tatu ne yandaba damba dubi lejiles was Tasuja Tachiba na Suju Bombi di language to Yoyambare, Suju Bombi City. What there is one inside? What did you lose on the
Okay. So then now we get into the more expanded explanation. So first we had the summary, and then we have more, so it's the expanded explanation. Therefore, apply to each of the 10 actions the 4 aspects of basis, attitude, performance, and culmination. This is illustrated in the following example of the path of action of giving up killing. The basis of giving up killing is another living being. The attitude is seeing killing's faults and desiring to give it up. The performance is the activity of having correctly restrained yourself from the killing. The culmination is the physical action of completing the correct restraint. Understand the others in this this way as well. So when we look at this virtuous action of abandoning killing, so how does one engage in a path action, which is the ethics which abandons killing? First, one establishes that there is a sentient being that is other than oneself. So there is first the establishment of a basis, and that basis, in the case of killing or abandoning killing, is a sentient being other than oneself. And then one starts to have an attitude that recognizes the faults of hurting, or the faults of killing this sentient being, and is doing this with a virtuous attitude. So one has a virtuous attitude and recognizes the faults of killing. So this then becomes this second step of the path action virtue of the ethics which abandons killing, and that's called attitude. So the attitude is this, not just the attitude not to kill, the attitude also that recognizes the faults of killing. And then the next is the actual performance, and the performance is the actual stopping of killing. So the actual restraint or the abandonment of the act of killing is the performance itself. So we have established there is another living being, and then established that there is a fault in killing that other living being, and then a desire to abandon killing because of the virtuous attitude that one has that recognizes this fault, and then he or she abandons the act of killing, which is the performance. And then the final completion is the definitive restraint. So the definite abandonment of killing. So the action of not killing takes place in performance, and then the culmination is the actual definite certainty related to the abandonment of killing that basis. Dixon.
다 추대 양 시바샤오 추대 다 고와 쪽에 나는 수주 bombe 기레 친 나 라마 고요고 고들에 잡아진 산탄스.
So then we look at the ethics which abandons killing, and we apply all of these points to it, but then we also have to apply this same theory, if you will, to the other 9 virtuous activities. So we've listed this first virtuous activity of killing, but there are the other 9 which make for the 10, so we apply this same theory.
Koma kugi yena wate nyeba yuwares. Koma ku chene chungsung la tene nywa la su wate nyemi tune wate koma kuya te pompi deba samba te hijirwa deba je ta tene wa sal tang ne ane sal tang wa lekha je ya tu kaba tele yuwa hijirwa marba ta majiba koma kuya te kaba ta cheba te ane majiba la pompi gi le waten jenda ten rabu jas. Is that it?
Then tato nge denden. Denden. Okay. Certain. Okay. So if we were to look at the other non-virtues, so if we look at stealing, and then we look at it in terms of virtue, which is the ethics which abandons stealing, first we begin with the basis. So the basis is a property of another. Then this is the first part among the 4. And then the second part, which is the attitude, is that one with a virtuous mind or a virtuous attitude recognizes the faults of taking someone else's property. So one makes this recognition and then has this desire not to take someone else's property because of the understanding of the faults. And then the next part, which is the performance, is the abandonment of taking another's property. So one refrains from taking that property which is not his or hers. And then the culmination, which is the 4th part after performance, is that one with certainty makes it definite that he or she will not take that other person's property, will not take that basis.
Oji tatane kabi les ku do ten jishi ni ku chaje ta ni ban debu ma debu la son les ne gi leje gwa ju leje debu la nami ji debu judu ji debu dabin debu son yoares marbe nami ji debu judu ji debu dabin debu son ne gwa ju ne gwa ju chini chongson je ne nami ji debu tele ne kan komi la tan chibi kan komi la jinge debi la chong mali chegres what is amarbe chong meta sa ne what kale ne shadi amarbe debu la son le nami ne gwa chong dan din tan chenbe mata debi la tan kan komani je la jo sa gi le de la chong dan din tan chenbo song ga ne chong de debi mate yong re nami ji debu
leso
din ge nami ji debi la res ne chembi nami ji debu zo kan zo me ke la ji ne res
leso
what is that
leso. So then we've gone through the actual white actions section. So now we've arrived at the results of the white actions, the effects of the white actions. So here it says there are three types of effects: fruitional, causally concordant, and environmental. The fruitional effect is that you are born as a human, a deity of the desire realm, or a deity in one of the two upper realms through small, medium, and great virtuous actions, respectively. So here we begin with fruitional results, or fruitional effects. So it states here, then when we look at the virtuous actions and the degrees of the path actions, the greatest degree causes one to be born in one of the upper two realms. So here the upper two realms are referring to the form and formless realms. A medium level causes one to be born into the desire realm, or as a deity, and then a small level one is born as a human. So we'll start with just this small amount of information and we'll go on from there.
tanga so de gawa chungo ge debutele ane ding debutel lama yilo de marbe to songa lama yil chegres wadende debil hala jago tan debil hat lama yid wadende debil hala jago zaman bes
Vene the chipa in garikelen namang
the jiba in samarbe jiba in so go jero ta posa jenda le chung mata ding lama yi chimbe ne hal chigres what the puja mom le do ta what the lama yi sa de debi hal ja go re se jere
yini dupi la yena lama yin ma cha rebe
debi lama yi
cha
to jo do ta debi hal ne su su ta phaba ni yo do debi la phaba do ngol lama yi se go jmaro lazari mai debi susu chu wadoso peje labaye lago ejere
ale
tati tamal tendo ngaso de lare chembo peijena dushu tendu inchi kabayo ina ane pei dushu tendu re dushu tendu kasin ngaso kama chinsaro shebi ting lonji mebe
the kejola
Makonje ne what choti
the jegre so then the previous so when we look at the path actions and their results and we look at the virtuous action which is the ethics which abandons killing, or the virtue of abandoning killing, we have different degrees. The smallest degree giving rise to human rebirth, a medium degree giving rise to a desire realm God rebirth. And previously we spoke of demigod rebirth. So this demigod, this is what it's being referred to in this case. And then the highest degree of virtue gives rise to rebirth in one of the two higher realms of the form and formless realm. So Rinpoche said that when we're speaking of desire realm deities, there are different types. Those who are ordinary beings, and then those who are Aryas. So we have to then also interpret it further from there. So then he just left it there. So that's what we were conversing about. Now we're going back to a section. Then the 77. Oh, okay.
What the
Dunchewa Nepagawa. Okay. Ngeragre.
Kaleta
Kamchik.
Yanza Korajan Tena.
Leilaudu. Ngeratugudu.
Yeah. Then the Nebajeta Lemme, Tayutina Nebel Go, Nebajeta Lemme, Chulos, Tambolas Motoangos Matan, Tunchewa Sambatan, Nebagawa Sambao, Tombola Ni Tewatan Juba.
Then Shi Ting Lung, Makumbi J.
Shitting Londe do Shitting less,
Makumbi J.
or did Kusultan Anichak.
Makumba J. Okay, so we're going back to page 118 in the great treatise on the stage of the path to enlightenment. And let me just tag off where we currently are. Makumba J. Virasar.
Mongo J. Shitting less as you do shitting.
Yeah, Tambo the Jetom.
Mokomba J. Shitting less, Lobatawan Zetan to Linis, Mokomba J. Shosana, Lobatawan Zetan, Tambaje, Lobatawan Zetan to Lini, Yeda Nita, Newa Jawa dance, Jeche, and then Jayu Kamen Batan Naje, Utaku Joa, Troje, Lalajo, Leshukuba Dunje. Trin Hani Kano, Trin Hatrim Marbe, Hatrim Jib the Rendua. Kaya Roane, Joa, Shiji, Mokunju, Jebota, Tande, Companion, Joa, Dobi Leto, Beselos, Jason Bataras. What that then what the Tenma and Hatrim, but the Hatrim, but what the Tal Hatsa Rimoti will do Hatsa Rimoti Shitin Debale, Shitin Srin Hani Kanwan, the Katu Shitin Debajuro, Shitin Debale, Hatsa Riwane, Shitin Debale, Dushe Mababatan, Zume Nila Shitins,
Lesso.
Hatsa Rimoti, Dushe Mababatan, Zume La Shindus.
Lesso.
Zume Kalate, Hatsarim Jaure, Dushe Mababate, Hatsarim Jaun, Shiting Debal Tandus, Redua, Ta Mokumba Jeje Tanle, Debil Shayu in Tatu Imbi, Delala Shidos, Debil Halajanus, Ole, Delal Chesantagatori, what to Lau, what the inch to 10. Seril Hanil Hatsarim Busiade. Kanaja was in the shedding rebale, Dushi Mababatan, Zumen, Sondos, Zumen had the Hazarimbi, Dushi Mababat the Hazarimberes, Dushi Mababat the Southern Jibi, Debuchi Fuchina Yoras, Southern Tomani was Somba, Jiba, Jibak and Debuchi, Fuchina, only Jana Chudo, Nikadana Yote, Hajuzamarote, Hazarimbote, Dushi Mababas Wote. Hazarimbores, she didn't able to do that.
Then the Meti Dayan long year, right? Then the Lopo Ninye.
Ta mohomba jeje juji tanso Middletown rendwe.
Ngay Tsampa Metidaya.
Yeah. Geshe Lharampa sa. Lhasa Rinpoche ne shidin deba le Geshe Lharampa ta zume ni la she jins. Shidin deba le Lhasa Rinpoche Geshe Lharampa ta zume ni le ja gures.
Lhasa.
Ta mohomba jeje tan le Middletown reba. Mohomba jeje tan le debi shayu ta tin de la jandus.
Lhasa.
Tanga te gawa chungu tege mali chigare dingi dolal chigare
Okay. Lesso. So when we refer back to this section, we find from Nagarjuna's friendly letter the points of the 8 conditions that lack leisure, or the 8 leisureless states. So it reads, to be reborn with wrong views, or without a conqueror's word, or as an animal, a hungry ghost, a hell being, an uncultured person in a border region, a stupid and mute person, or a deity of long life, is to be afflicted by one of the 8 faults that are conditions which lack leisure. After you have attained leisure, which is freedom from these, strive to end birth. So here, the last one of the 8 one of the 8 is a long life deity, or a deity of long life. So when we look at the commentary on Nagarjuna's friendly letter by Mahamati, it says that a deity of long life is one who lacks discrimination and lives in the formless realms. So here, this lack of discrimination comes from this state of concentration. As beings go from the first to the second to the third to the fourth concentration levels, there becomes a state of ultimate absorption where that lacks discrimination. So here we find reference to the formless realm, which we're speaking of when we're looking at the greatest level of virtue gives rise to the form and formless realm rebirth, and then a medium level giving rise to a desire realm rebirth. We then find Ashvagosha's text, which is called a talk on the 8 conditions that lack leisure, that says a deity of long life is one in the desire realm who is constantly distracted by activities of desire. So then here we find the long life deity of the desire realm. So Rinpoche is just pointing out other sections in the text where we've gone over types of beings like we're citing. So there are 2 different types of long life deities. The cheat. Less so. Less so.
ne debi lama imbe deje meba ba chuje ne lama imbe de lama imbe insa marbe
leso
hatere imbe ne debi lale hatere imbe debi lale mason de marbe debi la ina hatere imbe chao hatere imbe ne debi la ore meje pejere ta debi la baba jana majere hazır imdan debi lal maje debi hazır imniga ima shosna debi susu juju debi la ina hazır imi majos debi dela papa aya desire god marbe ta tanne wade ya tanne kar
So right now, what Rinpoche is speaking about is then when we look at these long life deities, we find that there are two possibilities when it comes to long life deities. So what right now we're trying to look at is the comparison of a long life deity and a desire realm god. So if we were to say how many permutations are there between a long life deity and a desire realm god, we would say if it is a desire realm god, is it necessarily a long life deity? So then the Hlatsi Rimbo Yina, the Dupi Hla Yina, Hlatsi Rimbi chop ma chop yinde. So then if we were to say if it is a desire, the Dupi La Papa Chuchen, the Hlatsi Rimbo Mayimba. So if we were to say if it is a desire realm god, is it necessarily a long life god? We would say no. We would say that does not pervade that, because we have those beings that are Arya gods of the desire realm. They are Arya gods of the desire realm, which are desire realm gods, but they are not long life gods. Why? Because they are Aryas. They are not long life gods because they are Aryas. So then, if we say the Hlatsi Rimbo Yina Dulayimbi Machap Sho. So then, if we were to say show something which is a long life god, if you were to say if it is a long life god, is it necessarily a desire realm god? You would say no. You would say machap. This does not pervade that, because you could say then a formless realm god. A formless realm god is a long life god, but is not a desire realm god. So then if you were to say, show something which is both, which is the Nika Yimbi Mu, the common locus, then you would say a god, of a long life god of the desire realm, a deity of long life of the desire realm who's constantly distracted by activities of desire, is a long life god, and is that. And then if you say something which is neither, then Nika Mayimbi, Ribon Ra, then you could say a rabbit with horns or something of that nature. So this is how you prove that when you look at the two topics of a long life god and a desire realm god, you come up with 4 permutations. Because if it is a long life god, it is not necessarily a desire realm god. If it is a desire realm god, it is not necessarily a long life god. There is something which is both, and then there is something which is neither. So therefore it fulfills the 4 permutations, because neither one of the subjects pervades the other. Therefore it is not 3 permutations, it's 4 permutations. So anybody who's, this is just all you can find in various texts. It's called 3 permutations, 4 permutations, mutually exclusive or synonymous, and it's a way that of debating. So this is something that you can think about, something that you could think about. So we've it's 4 o'clock, so we're going to take a short break and.
What Tangazu Katu Mondoshan Marba Jatan Jeju Tagging Hamadele, Drebu Katu Mondona, Drebula Sule, Namine Gale Chongo Dandita, Chenmo Madan, Debil Hadan, Kankomani Hajus, Guardi, Drebutla Debila. Go on digging and develop the Gatul Hama in the Chesayade. Pijin Devil Halja Devil Halja Woodwater. Tamal Hazarim Ina, Hama Yime Acho, Dola Im Ajosana, Hazarim and Dola Ime Macho. Duji Mebaba Tanzume Ladi Chujin, what the Sishudua. Tal Hatzerimina, Hama in my imagine Debila. Hama in the Debila Jibaja was a marbe. What the Rabadua? Ah. Can't come on, you had Josa. That Judun, Dabi, Jebun, Magoal, Dut Shibajahus, Dut Jarus.
So here it says so the effects of virtuous actions, there are three types of effects: fruitional, causally concordant, and environmental. The fruitional effect is that you are born as a human, a deity of the desire realm, or a deity in one of the two upper realms through small, medium, and great virtuous actions, respectively. So here we spoke of the demigod being that second level, so there being the gods, demigods, and humans. So then we have to look at what a demigod is and see if it falls categorically into this. And we say that if it is a deity of long life, it is not necessarily a desire realm god, because we find that there is the example of the formless realm deities of long life, and those are because those beings are in the formless realm, they cannot be desire realm gods. And then if we say to posit something which is a form realm god, but not a desire realm, the Hilatsi Rimbo, Yimba, the Dula Mayimba,
Zumekla.
then the Hilatsi, the Dula Yimba,
Hazard Mayim Dola Papa.
the Dula Yin, Hilatsi Rimbo Mayin.
Dola Papa Chushi Aya.
Okay, so then when we say that, is there something that is a desire realm deity but not long life god, we would say yes, those Arya beings of the desire realm. Those Arya beings of the desire realm are not long life gods. And then something which is both, we find a demigod would be an example of both, or a god of long life of the desire realm. And then something which is neither is easy. So we went through all of those points. So that is dealing with the fruitional effect and the degrees of the fruitional effect, the degrees of action and how they relate to the fruitional effect itself. So it says you should take the causally concordant and environmental effects to be the opposite of those of the non-virtuous actions. Okay, Khensur Rinpoche.
Oh, that's what the Nami debut was the Goa Chindin Chunsu, the Nami debut le Kankomani La Debi La Me, what the Chegres.
Less so.
That Jutu no Dabin debut. Goa Jutu debut, the Dabin debut, and the Magawa Chuki Dabut Jutun debut, the Dandil Padut Jaures.
Less so.
Do the Jaros, what the Marbe Sujebi. And Sujebi Juting Debatel Satwamarbe. Sujebi Naming Debatel Satware, Suje Bumbiki, Leje, Debatel Seriwa, Neme Balasuba, what the Yungers, Katuka to Paja, Katunga to Tamal Tija, Imba, what the Paja is.
Less so. So then we begin with with the causally concordant results of virtuous actions, and we find that those become just the opposite of those presented in the non-virtue area related to causally concordant results. So then when we looked at the act of killing, killing itself had the causally concordant result of having a short lifespan. So this was a causally concordant result of killing. So the ethics which abandons killing also has causally concordant effects, and that is that one will have a long life. So we see how killing causes short life, abandoning killing causes one to have a long life. So we can then apply this way of thinking to the rest of them as well.
What the Magile Katu the Larin Chimbo Jatan, Jesu Jani Jiki del Dua, Jutumbi Devonis, what the no Teta Matre, Larin Chimbo Jatan, Payjana Jatan, Jesu Jani Re, 182. Inch Kabayonamo, Jiki del Dua, Tadakin Devo Tambala, soon less what in the Woods Mandua, Jutumbi Devo.
So now we're going to page 236 in the English, to the causally concordant effects section in the non-virtue section.
What the inch
Lhasa.
Jutumbi Devo, what the inch could Angat Kusultana
Lapsar.
That Jutumbi Devo the water.
Say
Magi Jutin Devo the water water. Nandu the ship and the water, Niwayada to do the ship in the Maljiba in a Majejan, Rembatar, Sujo Saton, Sujo Bumbi, Sutin Chitarion. And Majiba Lambi, Jutin Devo the Lonshu Chua, Lonshu Pomba. Majibala Bobby legend, Jutin Devatala, then Lonshu Chewa, Lonshu Chewa, then Louis Bombi Jutin Devatala, and Chuma Mason Joatan, Mason Joasa, Tachuma Mason, Pemejana, Jeba Jena Chuma Mason Joa, Pemejana, House Mason Joa, Tiseja in Joa. Bemesuki, Louis de Mamuba, and Suzuki, husband Yabu Mares.
Less so.
Jeba Sugu, the Louis de Mabuna, and the Chuma Yabu Mares.
Less so.
The Bomba Yena Chuma Yabu Mares.
Less so.
That Zoom Marabez, Zungi Kuamoa, Zungi Jutin Devatala, Mercatan, Dojaris Lodiat, Kuamoa, Zoom Bombi, Gay Legi, Jutin Devatala. Goa map Katan Maba Chano Bare. Jun Tami Jutun Devatele, Zawu Zawudan Tumba Yungres, and Zawud Tumba Jewade Jun Tamarwa. Tane Tama Jeroa, Jun Tama Tizu Marabi, Tizu Roa, Zawudan Yewa. That Tizubi Judin the Yidmo you Datubas.
Less so.
Tizuba the Judin the annual Kachadujaku there.
Less so.
Jumbo with sitting in the annual Kachak Yabukoya.
Less so.
Tubata Jenji Nachi the Marva, Nachi the Jenji Simen Bata, Nachi Bombayina, Jenji Sin Yambas.
Less so.
Never the Yungres.
Less so.
That Nasen and Lotas Marva.
Less so.
Nasen Jutin Devatele, Dosha Shecho Yungu, Shedangi, Jutin Devatele, Kundu Shecho Yungu, Lodak Jutin Devatele, Tomo Shecho Yungu, Tad Nasabon, not Nasabon Gile, Jutin Devatele, Dosha Chua, and Shedan Bomb Devatele, Shedan Chua, Tomo Bomb Devatele, Loda Yungu.
Less so. So now we'll look at compare white actions and black actions. So black actions and white actions, or non-virtuous actions and virtuous actions. And we'll look at them in relation to the 10 non-virtuous actions, and then the ethics which abandons the 10 non-virtuous actions, or the 10 virtues. So we begin with killing. So there are 3 non-virtues of the body, and it begins with killing. So the causally So it reads in the Lamrim Chenmo, even when you are reborn from the miserable realms as a human, you still experience the effects of non-virtuous actions as follows. So it begins with the non-virtuous action of killing. So from killing, the causally concordant result is a short lifetime. From the ethics which abandons killing, the causally concordant result is a long lifetime. The causally concordant effect of stealing is that one won't have resources, one won't have things. The causally concordant effect of the ethics which abandons stealing is that one will be rich, one will have many resources, have all the things that one needs. The causally concordant result from sexual misconduct is an unruly spouse, or a spouse that is not dedicated. The causally concordant effect of the ethics which abandon sexual misconduct is that one's spouse will not go to another. One will have a loyal spouse. Those are the three non-virtues of the body. Now we begin with the four non-virtues of the speech. So it begins with lying. So the causally concordant result of lying is that one is slandered. One will bad things will be said about one. The causally concordant result from the ethics which abandons lying is that one will hear nice things about oneself. So good things will be said about you. So the causally concordant effect of divisive speech is a loss of friendship, and the causally concordant effect of the ethics which abandons divisive speech is that one will attract friends. One will be able to keep friends quite easily in their lives. The causally concordant result of offensive speech is hearing unpleasant words, or literally hearing those words that are not attractive. The causally concordant result of the ethics which abandons offensive speech or harsh words is that one hears pleasant words. One hears things that are attractive to the ears. So the causally concordant result of senseless speech is that others will not listen to your words. The causally concordant result of the ethics which abandons senseless speech or gossip is that people will listen to what you say. People will take heed of the things that you are saying. And then so those are the four non-virtues of the speech. Then there are three non-virtues of the mind, which are covetousness, harmful intent, and wrong views, or malice and wrong views. So the causally concordant result of covetousness is that one will have a predominance or a very strong amount of attachment. The causally concordant result of the ethics which abandons covetousness is that one will have a very small amount of attachment. Attachment will be lessened, will become quite small. The causally concordant result of malice or harmful intent is that one will have a large amount of hostility, or hostility will be the predominant negativity. The causally concordant result of the ethics which abandons malice or harmful intent is that one will have a smaller degree or a lessening of his or her hostility or anger. And then the causally concordant result of wrong views is that one will be confused, one will be ignorant, one will have delusion. The causally concordant result of the ethics which abandons wrong views is that one will be intelligent, one won't be confused by things, one will have an understanding. So this is how how the results differ, whether they are virtuous or non-virtuous. If they are produced by virtuous or non-virtuous actions. Thank you.
Tenaji Gawajutele Jutin de Vini Uroda, what the college in Rojan, Telamutu Lulajin Rondire. The Babilo, Dansa Jubin to letter, and the Vini son des, Kete, Mejanaya, Nason Tane, Meletiba Inaya, Soju Bitsatua, Soju Devedele, Sotua, Nemo at Yungres. Soja bombi tsutin, soja bombi ki leje debadele tsarinwa. ne meba yungures, ne meba yungures, talu kaza majimba lemba pombi ne longshu chungwa, longshu yin da tumowa. Majimba lemba pombi ki lejin deba de longshu chewa, longshu yin tumo ma yiba de yungures, tumo ma yiba. Tene loyin pombi deba de la loyin pombi deba de la ko mosungwa 이 이때도 로마 마이미 중반에다 제바스 제바이나 네 로이드 마보바이나 네 로마 중마데 야보용 말이지 말베 아니 초 제멜 찾아바이나 로이드 마보바이나 초가 야보용 말이스 카발론자이지로와 맞어봐 이때도 모로와 중반에다 제바사 로이 봄베 네 추징이 되버들었네 정말 야부용 거래 랜다 매버용 거래스 근데 주행이 되버들 고아 모신 제주 로아다스 주행이 되버들 제 고아도 카탕게 뭐고 안에 제주 로아용 거래스 준 봄비 추징이 되버들 네 고아 매바다 제주 로아용 거래스 안에 준 참이 되버들 콤 동신 ngaba dans chama bombi debedele kon dongsin sosu kod chamba yungure ne yabu yungures ngaba dans tene du chama chizu marwe chizu bombi debedele yi dongyi da tuishin tami chidu manjuwa dans ta nga chigi debedele chizunba 세종 메시 망에비 보바 조아사 데데 나치도 bom바이나 네 치전 바다 네비 보바 조아스 오다 드는만 되바치시 추셰바 되바치시 추셰바다 되바치시 추셰바다 다 나세 너세 로다송도 말베 나세 bom비 데베들 되바 총 추셰바 용거레스 너세 bom비 데베들 네 nasa pome deba tani shedang meba tu yin saraba chu sheba ta mepemba mawa pemba maruba pemba mawa nasa pome deba pemba mawa na wate pemba tsuwa yin la nyoba sheba yin je nyoba sheba jowa tang sa ta lota kin deba ta ngay shin yu ju jen to jowa sos lota pome deba tala ta ngay shin 유주 제는 먼저와 와데 다 라마 고마소게 와데 고아주도 주발라 가보데 셰바 주드레스 다마드 미니니 송바트 수근로 뇨아 주드르데 인송도스 마르바 칼레로잔 오든딘 사지로는 가이고 칼레시
Then Tama Yanjursuranang, the Nyawa Jutun. Garik the Tama Yanjursuran.
Tama Gadnasen Ludarba.
Luta, then it Charangari Sumpure.
Tama Timba, Takante Tamarba, Gawajuga, Tinma, Pachanini, Jutun de Benini, the Chiswate, Nua Jutun.
Ah, less so.
Sheba Jutun, the Wate, Gawar, Drubala Gawate.
Less so.
Yes, Lama Koma Sundus.
Less so. Okay, so then now it says the chapter of the Truth Speaker and the Sutra on the 10 levels both state that each of the non-virtuous actions has two effects. They say that even if you are born as a human still. So then we'll go through this. So here in this case, the causally concordant result of killing is that you'll have a short lifespan and many illnesses. So the causally concordant result of the ethics which abandons killing will make you have a long lifespan and be free of illnesses and diseases. The causally concordant result of stealing is that you have few resources, and the resources you have would be shared by others, or you would have to share them with others. The causally concordant result of the ethics which abandon stealing is that you'll have many things, and you won't have to share them. They will all be your own things. They won't belong to anyone else but you. So the causally concordant result of sexual misconduct is that your helpers will be disorderly or untrustworthy, and you'll have a contentious spouse. The causally concordant result of the ethics which abandon sexual misconduct is that all of your helpers will live in harmony and be able to be trusted, and that you'll have a very loyal significant other, a very loyal spouse. The causally concordant result of lying is that others will slander you a great deal and they will deceive you. The causally concordant result of the ethics which abandons lying is that others won't slander you, they will say good things about you, and they will not be deceptive. No one will try to be deceptive. The causally concordant result of divisive speech is that people who are your helpers won't get along and will misbehave. The causally concordant result of the ethics which abandons divisive speech is that one's helpers or friends will all get along and will behave in a very proper manner. The causally concordant result of offensive speech is that you hear unpleasant and quarrelsome speech. The causally concordant result of the ethics which abandons offensive speech is that one will hear very attractive things. One will not have to hear people argue or quarrel. The causally concordant result of gossip or senseless speech is that your words would not be respected or understandable, and your confidence would not be unshakable. The causally concordant result of the ethics which abandon senseless speech or gossip is that people will heed your words. Your words will be understood and have significance to those hearing them, and you will be confident, and that confidence will not be able to be shaken. Causally concordant result of covetousness is that you have great attachment and no contentment. Causally concordant result of the ethics which abandons covetousness is that one will not be attached, one will not have these great attachments for others' things, and will constantly feel a sense of contentment and a lack of wanting. The causally concordant result of malice or harmful intent is that you seek the unbeneficial or not seek the beneficial, and you would harm others or others would harm you. The causally concordant result of the ethics which abandons malice is that you seek out that which is beneficial. You are beneficial to others, and you abandon harming others, and others abandon harming you. So these are all results of abandoning malice. The causally concordant result of the ethics which, the causally concordant result of wrong views is that you have bad views and would be deceitful. The causally concordant result of the ethics which abandons wrong views is that you'll have correct views and it will not be you won't be deceitful. So then, all of these things that we're speaking of, such as a short lifespan and illnesses and few resources and so forth, are causally concordant experiential effects. And then if we look at, for instance, somebody who really likes killing, this is a causally concordant behavioral effect, which is a different category. Okay, Dixon.
다 녀와 주든 제바 주든 보나 녀와 양수에서 말বে 양수 찬이 지는 너무 양수 말বে 양수를 뭐다그 녀와도 그걸로는 천작하네 안 좋고도 천작 주의지 양세도 어디 녀와 주든 인사 말বে 녀와 주든 균율 때는 로그 동바 바로들 센도 세대도 녀와 주든도 어디 인사다.
So when we look at the hell, we have this reviving hell, where we speak of the. I just want to look up something real quick. Reviving. So this, when we, so the reviving hell is a hell where in the hell there's constantly a war going on and people are being cut to pieces, and then brought back to life, and this is a causally concordant result that's happening there. So we're this constant killing and the reviving. This is a causally concordant experience.
This
is an example of a causally concordant experience. So now we're moving on to environmental results. On page 237, looking at them in terms of so page 237.
May contrary, high contrary, what the Dandi is about Dandi. What the Dabi Debatil, then Magi Dabi Debatilla, and then Ganson contrary to Nebayo Maris, Karal Kuyo Maris, what Nemo, what the shading is Amara. Dendri, and the May Lobatan, high Lobatan, what the Zulu Karjina, Magoala Tut, Nebacho, the South Moyagoro, what the things about Dandi. Then
Kala, the guy, the Yanjusurana, Nechi.
Dabi Debo, Tamar Takan, no, Nason de Sacha,
Less so, the Nason.
What never Chevio Marota, never Chujure, Kalayabu Mare, what the Dandi is a marve. And what Suju Bumbi. So we see that
the result of engaging in non-virtuous activities is that we are born into places where there are not many things that are pleasant. So this then becomes in the environment itself. So when we look at the various environments that we can be born in, the actual environment that one abides in the lower realms, or the environment that one is abiding in the human realm or God's realms, is created by our previous actions, and then those actions produce which are what is called the environmental effect. So we can see how the resources and the environment in the higher realms of existence are much more enjoyable than those places in the lower realms of cyclic existence where there are very few resources and the things that one needs are not available. So these places are the environmental results. Dixon. So now we're going to slowly read through this section on environmental effects.
Sujubi Dande Marbe, Ta Sujubi Dande Tele, and Chikar Suri, she, Nejide, Nasa Toata, Pen Nubachibure, Debolas over Nubachibures, and then Nubacheva Tuchua, Lasubo Teyungres, Majiba Lambi, and then Dande Tele, and then Debu Nuatan, Debu Marumbatan, Debu Joatan, Debu Lombatan. Tamba Chawatan, Chachebatan, Debu Gambatan, Maber Joatans, whatever the Majimba level Pumbi Debutele, Debu Moa, Debu Trumba, and then Debu Majoa, Debu Majoa, and Debu Maruba in Jamarbe, Tamba Machoa, Chamachoa, and Debu Magamba, Gamba Mabala Suba, what things of that. Then Louis, Tamarbe Louis. Louis can develop change down, Danza, Jenje, Damazawata, Tungawata, and then Tunga Moata, Yamago was Louis Bombi, Dabi develop change down, Jenje Meba, Tunga Meba, Tumasa Meba to the Samarba, Jundum Hayu, and then Danditele, Shinle down, Tushibi, and Tajeba Major, Zubombi, Danditele. She lay down pure walk and walk to the Abu Yungres, she laid the treasure about the lady, Tajeba, Joatan, and doing Tamaro, that time in Jebutele, and Tumba Joa, Mokka Tumba Yungres, Tumba Jushin, Page Mloatan, Jiba Mabatan, Jisu Ronyu, and Jum Mabutan Mademba. That time and Dabi Tamapon with Tantric Debutala, Saju Bamba Mabatan, Janjung Mabatan, Toma Mabatan, Drug Kawatan, Jibatan, Jisu Ronyu, Jum Mabutan Mademba. Ngachi Pombi Dabi Jabane, Saju Dondon Maba, Sama Maba, Dodan Sema Maba, Jumum Mamoba, Tobatan, Namandoba Maba, Pochutan, Chotan Tinga Yoba, Kansatan, Sagudan, Godun Jentan, Tacheba, what to the Deba Genji, Jetan, GB, Jumabo Tamadeba. Ngachi Pombi, Dande and Rebi Shilla Junji, Petri, what to Sul Rebe Abungures, Rebe Chabatan, to me on Machabatan, Tusu Machabatan, Pebatan, Peba Tawatan, Saw Madebatan, and Read to Madebatan. Read the neighbor to Jaurota, Kungarawa Moa, Nase Moa, Zibu Nyagawa Moa, GB Jumabata Madeba. What about the Tiju Jalamara?
The Ngache then Sar.
Ngache, but nothing is a Luta Shulana.
Okay.
What Gale is Halpalujana, you Lelabdo.
Okay. So we begin then with environmental effects. From the non-virtuous action of killing, such things in the internal... I'm going to go through each one as we go and give the commentary on it, because this is how Rinpoche did it. From the non-virtuous action of killing, such things in the external environment, as food and drink and medicine and fruits, will have little strength, be ineffective, have little potency and power, or being difficult to digest, will induce illness. Hence, most living beings will die without living out their expected lifespan. So these are the environmental effects of killing. The environmental effects of the ethics which abandons killing makes it so that the things in the external environment, such as the food, drinks, and medicines, will have great strength and be very effective and keep one extremely healthy and be very digestible and promote one's health as opposed to inducing illness. It will have the opposite effect. It will make one healthier by eating or drinking it or using it. And it says that in people's lifespans will be able to, they will live out their lifespans as a result of the ethics which abandons killing. So these are the environmental effects of that. Then the next is the environmental effects of stealing, are that you will have few fruits. The fruits you will have will not be perfect, will change, or will be partially spoiled. There will be severe droughts or torrential downpours. The fruits will dry up or disappear. So here, in this case, this is from the non-virtue of stealing. The ethics which abandon stealings allows one to have plentiful amounts of fruit, in that the fruits that one has are perfect. They don't change, they don't spoil very easily, and environmentally there is just enough rain, there isn't a severe dryness, nor is there any type of flooding, and the fruits that one has will stay and not disappear. So that is stealing. Next is the environmental effect of sexual misconduct, or living from where there is excrement and urine and filth, unclean things, many evil smells, misery, and discomfort. The environmental effect of the ethics which abandons sexual misconduct is that one will live in a very clean place that is free of feces, mud, filth, and so forth. Will have a very pleasant smell to it and will be comfortable. The environmental effect of lying is that any work that you do in field or on boats will not flourish. There will be no harmony among your workers, and for the most part, they will be deceitful, and you will be fearful and have many causes to be afraid. So the environmental effect of the ethics which abandons lying is that one's work will flourish. One will always have success in one's endeavors, be it in the fields or boats or so forth. The workers who are doing the work, the people who are doing the work will live in harmony and will not deceive you, and there will be no reason for you to be afraid. The environmental effect of divisive speech is that you live somewhere that's uneven, bumpy, has holes, difficult to get through, difficult to traverse. You'll be very fearful and have causes to be afraid. So the environmental effect of the ethics which abandons divisive speech is that one will live in a very smooth area where there are not cracks, there are not holes, and that is very easy to get through, that is not difficult to traverse. And then the environmental effect of offensive speech is that you will live in a place that is full of logs, thorns, large rocks, sharp stones, and many broken bricks, and that lacks waterfalls, lakes, or ponds, is rough, drab, arid, salty, barren, vile, and is a place of dangerous animals. You will have many causes to be afraid. So the environmental effect of abandoning offensive speech is that one will not live in a place that has all of these things in the way, such as logs. There won't be thorns to make it difficult to go through, or large rocks or sharp stones. There will be a place that has water and that is very smooth and full of life, and there will not be animals that can harm you, will not be dangerous animals. So that's the environmental effect of the ethics which abandons offensive speech. The ethics which abandons the ethics which abandons offensive speech. The ethics which abandons senseless speech are that you would be in a place where fruit trees do not bear fruit at the wrong time, or bear no fruit at the proper time. The unripened appear to be ripe. The fruits are not strong. The tree does not last long. There are not many comforts such as parks, groves, and pools, and you will have many reasons to be afraid. So the ethics which abandons this gossip allows one to be in a place where there is fruit that comes at exactly the season that it's supposed to come, that it will always be what it looks like. It will be ripe if it looks like it is ripe, and that the one will be quite comfortable and be surrounded by parks and groves and so forth. And then one will have no reason to be afraid. So these are the three non-virtues of the body, and their virtues of the body, and then the four non-virtues of the speech and the four virtues of the speech. Dixon.
Yes, what that no nasen lota pombe gele debendwa nasen pombe chuti san gele debende dande rota panson soba tanje lore dandar ane tusi danda dawa ane shar ya manyashi pewas ya pendya pewa dansa ta nese ji dabi debutala yan dans ne pas dans yan nasa jin samare nese ge debutala nasa yongore ne pas yongore ne nese de bomba ina yan yongomare ne pas yongomare ne go ne yongomare choba yongomare parweje mazule cholon mama dans de matu ngalo bege nese ge dane insarwa mama ta ane segi jeba yongomare taki jeba yongomare dodogi jeba yongomare deba da senje mama ta neji doba jen chungkun la soba mama ta sa ta lota idande ne heji jiten na Jong Chu Tang, Zuda Noba Majoa dance, Sek Teka the Mugi Tekala Suba, the Noba Majoa Dan, Noba Mazawa Dan, doing Hewa Da, Chu the Tawa Dan, Debatawa the Nedan, Juba Dan, two member Majoros, Yabu Yungus. What is
Yeah. The environmental effects, so now we have to go through the three non-virtues of the mind, of covetousness, harmful intent or malice, and wrong view. The environmental effects of covetousness are that all excellent things will deteriorate and diminish every year, every season, month, and even each day will not increase. So there will be a constant demise. The environmental effects of malice are that you will be where there are epidemics, injury, and infectious diseases, quarrels, many disputes with opponents, armies, lions, tigers, and the like, poisonous snakes, scorpions, and many fireflies, and harmful yaksas, robbers, and the like. The environmental effects of wrong view are that you will be in an environment where the best and principal sources of resources will disappear, where unclean things will appear to be most pure, and misery will appear to be bliss, and where you will have no home, protector, or refuge. The Pombi Jepo Gare.
Pombi Jepo, Pombi. Nase Pombi Dande, Nase Pombi Dande, then the Kaju Palo Yajere, Loda Pombi Dande. What about the mother?
To the Lason.
This is me.
The Pombi Jepo Gare, the Nasen Pombi Jepo, Nusen Pombi Jepo, Luta Pombi Jepo Gare.
What the Kaju Palo Yajemar? Nase
Losar.
Nase Pombi Jepo, the Katu Palo Yajero. Nase Jin, Khensur Rinpoche Regime, Tuchi Dawa, Shah Regime, Nase Nyangel Serva, Nasa Pomba Nyangamare, Yapeu.
Okay. So the environmental effect of the ethics which abandons covetousness is that one's things won't deteriorate. Every year they will increase, every season, each day. So each day, each month, each year, there will be an increase, as opposed to the fact of that if one engages in covetousness, that there will be a deterioration, it will diminish, and there won't be an increase. The environmental effect of the ethics which abandons malice means that we'll be somewhere where there is health, that diseases will not be prevalent, and people will not argue, and wars won't take place, and wild animals won't be able to harm you. And then the environmental effect of the ethics which abandons wrong views is that one will be somewhere that is clean and pure, and that one will recognize what will not be confused about what is suffering and what is and confusing that suffering to be bliss. So one will have a protector, a home, and a place of refuge. Okay. Okay. Then John Triwa Yure.
Okay.
Then John Triwa.
Yeah.
Then the Ngama Cheran Sumpare, the Tepa Yuna. Then Nga, the Gigi, the Nangla, the Leyu Sumba. Then the Kepa Yimba, Tepa Yuna. Then Shela Jupu Yongore. Kepa Yimba. Kepa ma yimba, yene tepa yuna, shela jubu yongore. Yene kepa yimba, tepa mena, shela tarimbo. Then the mulam gari yakshu, then the gangisena the kongi triwa, then yalan gari chegadu. Gangisena the kon kepa chagu, then the yene yichi tepa sheda ke chempuldu, then yichi tepa kandre je. Kandre je, ichi teba. Gari lojum she. Ganyu sena tepa yuna. Then the shela le labo yongore. Then the ichi tepa the kandre zu. Gari ju gare.
Then Deba she. To say Abishe Suna, Deba to Yungu. Deba Abishe Suna, Deba Ichi Yungu. Lende Abishe Suna, lendele ishe ishe
Less so.
What the
So there was a question that was posed at break, and the question is that we've been studying and finding that there are different points made related to the way that one can receive blessings. So there was the idea that in the great treatise, that when we look at those who are scholars or those who are not scholars, we find the statement that they're more virtuous and less inclined to negativity if one is a scholar. But then when we looked at it in the tantric context, and we find in the Yamantaka Tantras this idea that if one is a scholar and has great faith, blessings will come quite quickly. If one is not a scholar and has quite great faith, blessings will come quite quickly. But if one is a scholar and does not have faith, then the blessings will be very far away. So the question is how do we get to the point where we have this faith and conviction which will allow us to be susceptible and to be a vessel for these blessings to take place very quickly. So Rinpoche said is the way that we achieve this faith of conviction, which serves as the basis for our ability to receive these blessings, is by having a thorough investigation and by thoroughly investigating and understanding the points that the Buddha made, by thoroughly understanding the three jewels, by thoroughly understanding refuge, by thoroughly understanding karma and its results, by having a very thorough understanding of the two truths, having a thorough understanding of the Four Noble Truths. So as we begin to study all of these different topics, we begin to then have an understanding of them more and more, which becomes incontrovertible to the point where we have a faith and conviction which serves as this very solid basis for us to be able to receive these blessings because of the amount of faith that we have that has been created by our studies. Rinpoche said, time is finished. So we'll do the concluding mandala offering and dedication prayer. The fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure land. I dedicate whatever virtues I have collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Losang Drapa to shine forever. I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. I dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri and likewise Samantabhadra as well. Whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse the three times, I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds. In that pure land surrounded by snowy mountains, you are the source of all happiness, all-powerful Avalokiteshvara Tenzin Yatso. Stay until samsara's end. I pray for the long life of the precious Khensur Rinpoche, holder of scriptural and realizational doctrines, spiritual friend who trained extensively in the 5 great philosophical texts, exceptional wisdom and perseverance. Tuji Rinpoche Kutsi Shapi Den